Okay, y'all, let's talk about flashcards today. Students, what are the do's and don'ts? Teachers, what are the do's and don'ts about how to use flashcards in a way that actually helps the brain learn rather than hinders the brain from learning? I've got a bunch of tips and tricks for both students and teachers, so let's dig in. Okay, backstory. I was in the lunchroom at the school where I am now consulting, helping both the students de-stressify their learning and teachers de-stressify their teaching. And one student said, "Oh my goodness, all I know how to do is flashcards, and oh, is it so boring." So I asked to meet with her, and it turned out she brought 7 or 8 of her classmates with her. And so we all put our heads around how to use flashcards. And I asked her to show me some. And oh my God, she had this huge stack of flashcards. It was so big, it overwhelmed me just looking at it. And I can imagine how much it was overwhelming her as well. So first, I walked her and her classmates through these flashcard don'ts. First of all, don't just mindlessly transfer information to your cards. So here's the deal. One reason flashcards are so great, in quotes, is that you can sit there and watch TV and look at the PowerPoint slide your teacher gave you, or look at the textbook, or look at something and just mindlessly make your flashcards while you're watching TV, because you don't have to think, right? You just look and copy, look and copy, look and copy. No, don't do that. I know it feels easy. I know it feels like you're learning and doing something productive, but you're just wasting your time. I'll tell you what to do instead in just a moment, but for now, just know you are wasting your time if you do that. Please don't be mindless when you're making flashcards. Now, here on number 2, a don't is to make flashcards for stuff you already know. Now, there's a caveat to that. But in that huge stack of flashcards that student showed me, a bunch of that stuff she already knew already. So if you make flashcards for stuff you already know, get them out of there as soon as you realize you know them, so that the stack that you still need to learn isn't huge and overwhelming. It's amazing how scary that can be to the brain. Now, I do want you to actually refer back to the ones you know at another time before the major test, but get them out of there while you're in the main studying time. Okay, this next one, number 3, don't simply do one fact at a time, one fact per card, one fact per card. I mean, this can work for certain kinds of content for sure. However, there's something I recommend doing instead. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Don't do too much boring repetition. Flashcard after flashcard after flashcard. How many of you feel like you fall asleep over flashcards? Totally. Don't sit still while you're working through your flashcards, and don't multitask. So a lot of students, I already told you about the watching TV while you're making the flashcards, but a lot of students think it's totally fine to lay there, be like, okay, I'm going to quiz myself while half of my ear is watching this TV show, or even while I'm in the car chatting with my family and driving. That can work okay, but not if it's the only way that you are focusing or that you're working through your flashcards. You do need some variety. So those are the don'ts. Teachers, by the way, I'm going to talk to the students first and then wait until the very end to tell you the biggest mindset shift about how to work with students around flashcards. And students, actually, I would love for you to stay to the end as well and listen to my teacher tip, and then see if you can figure out, is this something your own teacher does do or doesn't do? That's a little fun thing, huh? Okay, but next, let's look at the flashcard do's. So don't mindlessly make flashcards. Instead, quiz yourself while you're making them. This takes more effort. And oh boy, does the brain resist effort. And I get it. But if you can get yourself to just do a quick, like, okay, here's the vocabulary word I'm making. Let me take a moment to see. Okay, that means da 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 da. Did I have that right? Okay. Whether you had it right or wrong, I mean, even if you got it right, you can make it, especially if you had to search for the answer for a little bit. I mean, if you knew it so easily, maybe don't even make that as a card. But if you had to search for it a little bit, make the card, but quiz yourself first. That is really going to take you a long way. Secondly, focus on cards, making cards for what you don't yet know, right? I think I've already made that point pretty well here. Third is, when possible, and especially for information that you're having trouble understanding, clump related facts together. So if it's a history class and there are 2 or 3 facts that are connected to a similar thing, don't just do one fact per card. Think through, what do all these facts have in common? Put that as a question or a topic on one side of the card, and then on the back side, list those 3 facts you need to know. If you're in a biology class or in a medical class or something, think through, like, oh yeah, what do these 3 body parts have in common, and what's the one question I can ask about it, and then put the answers on the back. That thinking process that you have to go through to figure out what they have in common is actually gonna help you remember it better for the test. So it takes a little time, takes a little effort, but it's effort that's worth it. Okay, here's another one. I don't think anyone has time to do this for every flashcard, so you're off the hook for that. But add pictures and words to the ones that you're super having trouble memorizing. So if you are in the practice of going through flashcards and setting aside the ones you don't know, go through that don't know pile. And there's some that you still don't know, maybe go through that pile and add little stick figures. They can be silly. They can even be not fully connected to the content, but they might remind you of something, or they can be related to the content. But pictures and words together is something called dual coding, and the brain really jives on seeing pictures with words together. It will be easier to remember. Then, remember how I said don't sit still? Find lots of creative ways to move your body while you're doing flashcards. I mean, it can be as simple as making your different piles in different spots in the room, so you have to literally walk all over the room. It could be go on a walk with your flashcards. Just be careful, that you're staying safe and don't hit your head on lampposts and that sort of thing, the way people are when they're scrolling. But the more moving, the more awake and alive your brain will be. And then push yourself. Like, how creative can you be while quizzing yourself with the flashcards? I have tons of creative ideas, some of which I'm not going to give away for free on YouTube because I think some are so good, I might just have to save them for a whole little masterclass on cool ways to use flashcards. If you're curious about that, post below and let me know. Oh yeah, please make that class. We want to go. They really are fun. And I had that study group in stitches as we were talking about some funny ways to quiz yourself on flashcards. So anyway, those are the flashcard do's. Now, another big do, before we start talking about how teachers can support and scaffold flashcard skills in with students, another do is to understand the study cycle. If you don't know what I mean by that yet, you've got 2 choices. You can go to gretchenwegner.com and take a video-based class, or if you just want a quick downloadable to skim it really quickly now, go to gretchenwegner.com/study, and I have a study cycle summary and action guide there. It's designed for teachers and students. So go ahead and check either of those out. It will really help you be able to understand why I'm suggesting a lot of these things. And when we understand why, we're often more motivated to actually take action and do them. So that's why I recommend that even for you students. One more quick thing before I talk to teachers is please, 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 please like, subscribe, comment, do all those things. It really helps my YouTube channel grow. Get out there, be exposed to other people. YouTube has these things called algorithms, and they pay attention when people interact with the video in different ways. So if you're just interacting in your mind, listening and nodding and enjoying, but you're not literally liking and subscribing, YouTube is not going to push me up as high as if you did all those things. So it's a simple act of generosity that takes less than a second. Please do it now. How am I doing? Am I doing better and better at making this YouTube liking and subscribing more interesting? You can comment below and let me know about that as well. I felt shy about saying this part in my videos, but I understand that's the business of YouTube, and I am willing to do that if it gets me to more students. So, teachers, are you ready? Students, are you ready to hear what I recommend to teachers and to see if your own teachers do or don't do this? Here's a big teacher don't. I know a lot of teachers assign students to make flashcards, and that is a good thing. Please do that. A lot of teachers even have Quizlet decks made already with their curriculum in them. That's fine too. Please do that. However, please don't simply assign flashcards to students without teaching them the study cycle, without teaching them the brain science behind how the brain learns, and without actually giving them some pointers for how to learn in anti-boring ways, because flashcards are the fastest path to bore our brains. And a lot of us, like I was trained to do flashcards, I bored my brain. It is important to quiz yourself. Flashcards are an easy way to quiz yourself, right? All the brain science does show that practicing retrieval or quizzing yourself is the fastest way to learn anything, but not if it's so freaking boring, you can't keep your focus on it. So teachers, please keep it up. Please assign students to make flashcards, but here's what I recommend. Here is the main tip or the main teacher do. Y'all should see my spread out here, all the whiteboards that I spread out on my couch in preparation for these videos. Okay, this is a key attitude that I would love every teacher to adopt with their students. As a class, all together, we are learning scientists. We're not just here to simply learn a bunch of math, learn a bunch of history, learn a bunch of anatomy, whatever it is. We actually together do learning experiments, and we share and collect our data together so that we can all get better as learners. And I, your teacher, am learning and experimenting alongside you. So what does this tip have to do with flashcards, though? I'm so glad you asked. I'm sorry if I'm a bit punchy, by the way, folks, but this is like the 4th video I've made today. So I hope it's coming across as fun and playful and not a bit too much. But of course, you can tell me what your opinion is down in the comments below. That's fine. I'm happy to get feedback. So teachers, I would love for you to be practicing these flashcard do's with students and helping them notice which ones of these work better for me than others. Maybe even have a list somewhere in the classroom that's public. What are creative ways we can move our bodies while we're using flashcards? What are creative ways we can actually go through our flashcards that might make things a little funny, a little silly, and make us remember the words more? What did you discover last night when you were doing your homework? Let's put it on our list together. Let's try each other's things. Let's save time. Like if you're doing have block classes and have to figure out how to fill up an entire 3-hour chunk of time, some of that can be doing little flashcard experiments with each other and seeing like what's the right amount of time to do flashcards before your brain tunes out. How many pictures, how many times do you cycle through cards before you find out which are the cards that are the hardest for you to learn, and then what's the best way to make a new card or to add a picture to that. These are all questions that you can ask together, experiment together, share data together, and keep that data in a public place so students can try each other's ideas. In my ideal world, this is what education would look like. It would be a series of running learning experiments through the lens of whatever content you're teaching. And how exciting would that be? And then how set up would students be to be lifelong learners with chock full toolboxes? Hmm? I would so love to hear your thoughts about this. I feel like it's a little out there, but I'm inspired by the vision, and I hope you are too. And last little thing, if you'd love to come to talk to me about this in person, I have office hours. They're super chill. Uh, on Zoom, you can come, you can stay in the background if you want, you can talk to me if you want, whichever. GretchenWegner.com/live is how you can come collect some data with me. I look forward to it. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Take care, y'all.